Aria, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you.
Damian.
Relax, Aria. Don't move.
I hope you are not hurt.
No, I'm not hurt, but Ethan will pay for what he did.
You seem sad. It looks like you have a lot on your mind.
Don't worry, it's just the board. They are withdrawing funding. They want me to pull out of the tournament.
So, are you quitting the tournament?
Never. Why are you crying?
Damian, I love you. You are a brave man.
Something fierce flashes in her eyes. Then her hand tightens around mine.
Damian.
She whispers, voice trembling not with weakness, but conviction.
I heard you.
I stiffen. Heard me?
Yes, when you were professing your undying love to me the other day, when I was in coma, when you thought I couldn't hear you.
She continues.
You said you loved me.
My chest tightens painfully. She swallows, eyes glossy but steady.
I gave up on love. I truly did. After what Ethan did to me, I thought whatever was left of my heart was too broken to trust again. But you changed everything. I love you too, Damian,
she says.
And I want to continue this journey with you. All of it. Even if the board members, the world don't believe in you, I'll be by your side throughout this tournament.
I lace my fingers through hers, grounding myself in the warmth of her touch.
I don't need the world. Even if everyone gives up on you, I won't. I'll sell everything if I have to. I'll make sure you're back on that track.
I smile then, a real one. That, I murmur, leaning closer, is all the motivation I need. I kiss her carefully, slow, reverent, promising everything I can't say aloud. She meets me halfway, the kiss sealing something unbreakable between us. When I pull back, resolve hums through my veins. I make the calls that night. Old names, old allies, engineers, analysts, mechanics who once believed in me when I had nothing but grit and scars. I don't call them together, one by one, quietly, discreetly. Every single one of them says yes. We won't work from the factory, I tell them. Not this time. We'll stay invisible, underground. Literally. My penthouse has a concealed underground garage, state-of-the-art, forgotten by everyone except me. That's where we'll build the car. That's where we'll win. Let the world think I've quit. Let Ethan relax. I'll fund it myself. When I tell Aria the plan, her smile lights up the room brighter than any hospital light ever could. This war isn't over. It's just gone silent. And silence is where I do my deadliest work. Aria is discharged the very next morning. I don't let the hospital doors close behind us before my hand finds hers again, firm, grounding, as if the world might try to steal her back if I loosen my grip. The ride to the penthouse is quiet. She's still tired, still healing, but there's light in her eyes now. Determination. Fire. When the elevator doors slide open, she steps out and stops. Welcome home, Mrs. Wolfe. Paper cards are strung across the living space, handwritten and imperfect, taped to glass walls and steel beams. Balloons float lazily near the ceiling. Music hums softly in the background. My people are there. Engineers with grease-stained hands, mechanics who once lived in race suits, analysts with tablets tucked under their arms, old allies and new blood, all gathered in one place. For her. Arya covers her mouth, eyes shining. For a heartbeat, she doesn't move. Then she turns to me and kisses me. Right there, in front of everyone. It's not shy, not hesitant. It's full of gratitude and pride and something fierce enough to silence the room for a second before cheers erupt.
Thank you, all of you, for your hard work, for your loyalty, for believing in him.
I lean down and murmur in her ear, "You need rest." She gives me that look, the one that says she's already planning to ignore me. "Arya," I plead.
Fine, a little.
Victory. She rests. For about an hour. Then I feel it, that shift in the air, the kind that tells me she's moved again. I find her in the underground garage, my garage. The space hums with life, steel frames, tools laid out with surgical precision, screens glowing with simulations. The skeleton of a race car is already taking shape, raw and aggressive. And in the middle of it all, Arya. Wearing one of my shirts, hair tied back, laughing with my team like she's always belonged here. There are plates everywhere, pancakes, pizza, coffee. She's feeding my crew. I cross my arms, torn between admiration and worry. "You're supposed to be resting." She turns, smiling like she's just been caught committing a crime she has no intention of regretting.
I am resting. This is emotional support.
"You were in a hospital bed yesterday," I remind her.
And today I'm alive. Let me help. This matters to me too.
She steps closer, rises onto her toes, and kisses me, soft, reassuring. Then she spears a piece of pancake with a fork and lifts it to my mouth.
Eat.
I do. It's incredible. I raise a brow. That's dangerous. Good. I turn to the room. "You heard her. Everyone, come have a bite before she conquers the world next." Laughter fills the garage. As I watch her move among them, checking progress, encouraging, giving more than she should, I realize something settles deep in my chest. This isn't just a comeback. This is a home. And Arya? She's the heart of it. The television hums softly in the background, the glow washing the sitting room in pale blues and whites. Arya sits beside me, her legs tucked beneath her, a tablet resting forgotten on her lap. Ethan's face fills the screen, perfectly groomed, perfectly rehearsed. The interviewer smiles too much. "Mr. Blake, there are rumors that your uncle, Damian Wolfe, poses a serious threat in the upcoming racing tournament. How do you respond to that?" Ethan chuckles, light, dismissive. "Uncle?" He shakes his head. "I don't consider Damian Wolfe family, and certainly not a threat. Racing has moved on. Legends belong in the past." Arya's jaw tightens beside me. "And regarding the recent explosion at his garage?" the interviewer asks. Ethan's expression shifts, somber, practiced sympathy. "Tragic, truly tragic. I offer my solidarity to everyone affected. No one deserves that." I smile, not because it's amusing, but because it's hypocrisy, I murmur. Arya exhales slowly.
He's good.
Yes, I agree. That's what makes him dangerous. The interview continues, but my attention drifts as Arya straightens, business slipping back into her eyes.
I got an update from the covert finance expert.
She says quietly, muting the television. I turn to her fully.
We're close, and if we move fast, we can consolidate minority stakeholders and push our influence to 35%, enough to control board decisions.
She hesitates, then adds,
But I'll need liquidity. I've exhausted most of my accessible funds. To do this, I'll have to sell part of my father's estate.
The words hit harder than she intends. No, I say immediately. She looks at me, startled.
Damian,
I'll give you $4 million. Silence. Her eyes widen.
you're already funding the entire tournament, the rebuild, the team. Damian, that's...
A war, I cut in, and an investment. She searches my face, trying to understand. If we win, I continue, voice steady, deliberate. You take control of Blake Sports Car Industries. Her breath catches. The perfect revenge, I say, for the cheat, the manipulator, the liar. I lean closer, lowering my voice. With the company in your hands, Ethan loses his financial backbone. No resources, no leverage, no shield for what comes next. Her eyes glisten, not with fear, but with resolve.
You're terrifying when you plan.
She whispers. I smirk. That's why they should have finished the job. She shakes her head, half smiling, half awed.
I don't know how to thank you.
I take her hand, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. Win. The muted television flickers back to life, Ethan still talking, still pretending. Let him.
I never thought engines could speak. Yet standing beside Damian in the underground garage, listening to him explain torque, aerodynamics, downforce, racing lines, how every curve of metal obeyed physics and instinct, I begin to hear it. The language of speed, of survival.
This,
He says, resting a hand on an exposed chassis.
isn't just engineering. It's trust between the driver and the machine.
I watch his face as he talks, focused, alive, almost reverent. Racing isn't just something he does. It's something that once kept him breathing and once nearly killed him. The engineers work day and night, no excuses, no complaints. Coffee cups pile up. Blueprints are revised, shredded, redrawn. Metal screams under pressure. Sparks light the darkness like artificial stars. And then, finally, they stand before us. Two elite sports cars, low, aggressive, beautiful in a way that feels almost dangerous. Carbon fiber gleams under the lights, sculpted like predators ready to strike. My chest tightens. They need names, I say softly. Damian looks at me, curious. I step closer, my fingers grazing the hood of the first car. The Great Wolfe, I say. The room goes quiet. Damian turns to me slowly, emotion flickering behind his eyes. Then he smiles, a real one, unguarded.
I like it.
He says. He gathers everyone together, engineers, mechanics, analysts, men and women who left their families, their homes, their comfort to live inside his penthouse and gamble on a man the world had already buried.
Thank you for your loyalty, your sacrifice, your belief. In 3 weeks, the fruit of your labor will meet the track.
Applause breaks out. Relief, pride, hope. 3 weeks. The number feels unreal. A few days later, we take one of the cars out for a test run. The track stretches endlessly under a pale sky, empty and waiting. Damian's longtime friend, an elite racer himself, stands beside us, arms folded, eyes sharp. It's not all about the car, his friend says. It's the hands behind the wheel. Damian nods, already knowing. The engines roar to life. My heart lodges itself in my throat as they take off, speed swallowing them whole. I watch every turn, every drift, every calculated risk. The cars blur past, neck and neck, refusing to yield. Time stretches. Then, by the narrowest margin, Damian wins. I laugh, breathless, clapping as adrenaline floods my veins. You won! But when Damian removes his helmet, there's no celebration in his eyes.
It wasn't enough.
He says quietly. His friend studies him for a long moment, then smiles. You're better than you were 5 years ago. Damian exhales, the weight of memory loosening just slightly. I step closer, slipping my hand into his. "You survived," I whisper. "That counts for something." He squeezes his fingers, eyes fixed on the track ahead. 3 weeks to the tournament, 3 weeks to prove the world wrong. And for the first time, I believe, not just in the car, but in the man behind the wheel.
I don't trust easily. 5 years ago, trust nearly cost me my life and everything that came with it. That's why the man sitting across from me now is the only law enforcement officer I'd ever dare involve. Marcus Hale, my high school best friend, the kid who used to sneak answers during exams and swore he'd clean up the system from the inside. Now, he's a federal detective with eyes that miss nothing and a reputation for never backing the wrong horse. I lay everything out on the table. Hard drives, documents, financial trails, shell companies, ghost accounts, medical reports altered after the crash, sponsorship deals rerouted, boardroom votes manipulated, evidence of how Blake Industries quietly erased my name from contracts that were legally mine. How they buried me, I say flatly, and how Ethan and his father kept smiling while they did it. Marcus doesn't interrupt. He just listens, jaw tightening, fingers steepled beneath his chin. "This is extensive," he finally says. "Fraud, conspiracy, corporate sabotage, obstruction. And this points to attempted murder." My pulse spikes, but my voice stays calm. They never stopped. They just learned to hide better. He exhales slowly. "Damian, if I move on this now, they'll smell it. Blake Industries has money, influence. They'll bury witnesses, destroy paper trails, make this vanish before it ever sees a courtroom." I nod. I expected that. "So, what do you need?" I ask. "More," Marcus says bluntly. "Something airtight. Something that forces an arrest before they can buy their way out." I lean back, eyes narrowing. Then we wait. Marcus studies me. "You think they'll strike again?" "I know they will," I reply. "They already tried once, and now I'm back in the race, back in the public eye. They won't risk me winning." A slow, dangerous smile curves Marcus's mouth. "Good," he says. "Then we set a trap." The word hangs in the air. "Let them think you're vulnerable," he continues. "Let them believe you're isolated, underfunded, distracted by emotion. Give them just enough rope." "And when they move?" I ask. Marcus's eyes harden. "We catch them in the act. No shadows, no deniability." I feel something settle in my chest. Not rage, not fear. Clarity. "They won't resist," I say quietly. "Blake never does when he thinks he's winning." Marcus stands, slipping the files back into his case. "Then don't warn him. Don't flinch. And whatever you do, don't die on me before I finish this." A sharp breath escapes me, half a laugh. "I'm not planning to," I say. As he leaves, I stare out over the city from the penthouse window. Somewhere out there, Ethan Blake is smiling, convinced the game is still his. Let him.
The numbers on the tablet stare back at me, crisp and dangerous. 39% shares. So close it makes my chest tighten. Across the glass desk, the financial covert expert broker adjusts his cufflinks, tension etched into the lines beside his mouth. He's good, discreet, sharp, but even the best feel pressure when the ground starts shifting beneath powerful men.
Several minor shareholders sold quietly, enough that the board is starting to notice patterns. Questions are being asked.
I keep my face neutral, though my pulse kicks harder. "And the rest?" I ask.
5 minority holders refuse to sell. They're betting on Ethan Blake. The tournament has them convinced the company's value will spike.
Of course it does. And Ethan? I press. The broker exhales.
He's suspicious. He's asking who I represent. The board wants names. They want assurance this isn't a hostile move.
I lean back, folding my hands calmly. You do nothing different. He looks at me sharply. You're an expert on this, I continue evenly. This is your job. When questioned, you play normal. No panic, no deviation. You're responding to market opportunities, nothing more. That seems to steady him. Once the discussion ends, he leaves, and I head straight for the underground garage. Damian is there, stripped down to a sweat-darkened training shirt, grease on his hands, focus carved into his face as he studies telemetry screens. The engines hum softly behind him, controlled power waiting to be unleashed. We're at 39%, I tell him without a preamble. The board's getting nervous. Ethan is sniffing around. 5 minor shareholders are holding out. Damian doesn't look surprised.
How long before pressure turns into paranoia?
He asks. Soon, I say, which makes the broker's position risky. Damian finally turns to me, eyes sharp, calculating, and deadly calm.
Good. Then it's time.
For what? I ask, though I already feel the answer tightening the air between us.
To set the first trap. If Blake thinks there's instability, real or manufactured, those shareholders will panic.
And panic makes people sell, I finish. A slow, dangerous smile touches his mouth.
Exactly. We shake the board. Not enough to expose ourselves, just enough to make them bleed.
I nod, adrenaline humming beneath my skin. Revenge isn't loud, it's precise. It's time to set our traps. The courtroom smells like old wood and colder truths. I sit upright beside Damian, my spine straight, my palms damp, despite the calm expression I've practiced in the mirror. Across the aisle, Ethan doesn't look at me, not once. He stares ahead, jaw tight, expensive suit perfectly pressed, as if composure alone can rewrite history. I almost laugh at the absurdity of it. For years, that same composure fooled me. Today, it feels brittle, fragile. The judge calls the case. Emma's name echoes in the chamber, and my chest tightens. My daughter, not by blood, but by love, by nights without sleep, by scraped knees and whispered lullabies, by every moment I chose her before myself. The evidence unfolds methodically, like a slow unspooling of lies. Documents proving the adoption was legal, signed, witnessed, filed, final. Photographs of me holding Emma as an infant, exhaustion etched into my face, love unmistakable. Medical records, school records, testimonies from caregivers, doctors, teachers, all affirming the same truth. I have been Emma's mother since the cradle. Then comes the part that makes the room go quiet, the manipulation. Our lawyer's voice is calm, devastatingly precise as she lays it out. How Lucia, my best friend, the woman I trusted with my secrets, was pregnant by Ethan. How they concealed it. How they played on my grief, my desire for a family, my belief in love. How they presented adoption as an act of generosity, never once disclosing that Ethan was the biological father. How the adoption took place during the legal window of my marriage, cementing my parental rights while concealing adultery and fraud. I feel Damian's hand tighten around mine. I don't look at Ethan. I don't need to. I know exactly when the narrative shifts, when the weight of truth becomes too heavy to spin. The judge listens, asks questions, reviews the evidence again. Then, finally, the words I've been holding my breath for. The court finds substantial grounds in favor of the petitioner. My knees nearly give. The ruling leans in my favor. Emma remains legally mine. Ethan's claim, built on deception, crumbles under scrutiny. The matter is adjourned, pending final resolution, but the implication is clear. We've won the first war. As predicted, Ethan's legal team doesn't wait long. Barely an hour later, my phone vibrates with an incoming call. Damian answers it for me while we're still seated in the quiet room behind the courtroom.
Yes?
He says. A pause. Then a faint smile curves his mouth.
That's wise.
He ends the call and turns to me.
They want an out-of-court settlement. They want it fast, confidential, clean.
I close my eyes, emotions swelling too big for my chest. Relief, vindication, and something sweeter, justice. Before I can even respond, Damian's phone buzzes again. He checks the time.
We have 30 minutes to go for an interview.
I blink. What?
A live interview.
He continues evenly.
Prime slot, TV.
One of the biggest hosts in the country. My heartbeat stutters. Damian,
It's time.
he says gently but firmly. Not just to win custody, to reclaim your story. He takes my face in his hands, thumbs brushing my cheeks.
Compose yourself. Tell the truth. Let the world see what was done to you.
A slow smile curves my lips, trembling with adrenaline and resolve. For Emma, for myself, for every woman taught to doubt her own reality. The studio lights are blinding, hot against my skin. Damian sits beside me, his presence steady, grounding. His hand rests over mine just out of camera frame, a silent promise that I'm not alone. The host smiles warmly, but his questions cut straight to the bone.
Aria, the public watched your marriage to Ethan Blake implode in spectacular fashion. Today, the court ruled in your favor regarding Emma. What really happened behind closed doors?
I inhale, and I speak. I talk about love, the naive kind, about trusting the wrong people, about discovering betrayal layered so deeply it felt like my life had been rewritten without my consent. I talk about Lucia, about Ethan, about how they manipulated my desire to be a mother, how they used marriage as camouflage for deceit. My voice shakes. I don't stop it. I adopted Emma believing I was saving a child, I say. I didn't know I was being used to hide an affair. I didn't know my husband was the biological father. If I had known, I stop, swallow. But what I did know, I continue, steadier now, was that Emma needed love, and I gave her everything I had. That hasn't changed. The host lets the silence breathe.
Your lawyers confirmed an out-of-court settlement is being discussed.
He says carefully. Yes, I reply, because the truth is no longer something they can bury. Ethan is a cheat and a manipulator. If he can manipulate me, his wife, then he can manipulate anyone. The host turns to Damian.
Mr. Wolfe, rumors say you withdrew from the mega racing tournament after the explosion at your garage. Are you still competing?
Damian smiles, not a pressed smile, not a defensive one. A confident, unyielding smile.
I never quit, and I will be racing as planned.
The studio hums with excitement. When we finally leave, the city feels louder, charged. The moment we step into the penthouse, my phone erupts. Notifications, messages, headlines. Aria Wolfe exposes fraudulent marriage. Court sides with Aria in Emma custody case. Damian Wolfe confirms he's still racing. The internet is on fire. I laugh, then cry, then laugh again, overwhelmed by the sheer force of it all. I turn to Damian and throw my arms around his neck, kissing him without restraint. We did it, I breathe. He holds me close, forehead resting against mine. This is only the beginning. I nod, smiling through tears. The battle isn't over.
The world doesn't explode all at once. It hums first, low, relentless, vibrating under your skin. That was how the days after Aria's interview felt. Screens everywhere carried her face, her voice, her truth. I watched it unfold from the penthouse, morning news bleeding into afternoon analysis, anchors dissecting every pause she'd taken, every tremor in her voice. Some called her brave, others called her calculated. The worst ones called her unstable, as if repeating Ethan's lie often enough might resurrect it. They didn't know her. But the markets listened. Blake Sports Car Industries wobbled like a tower with its center pulled loose. 1 hour, the stock surged on optimism, Ethan smiling stiffly in damage control interviews, promising transparency. The next, it plunged on whispers, fraud, internal sabotage, paternity scandals, inheritance theft. Investors hate uncertainty more than failure. And right now, Blake Industries was nothing but uncertainty. Aria stood beside me at the glass wall overlooking the city, her tablet glowing with charts and numbers that rose and fell like heartbeats. She was calm on the outside, too calm. I recognized the tension in her shoulders, the way her fingers stilled whenever a notification from a financial outlet chimed. "You should rest," I told her quietly. She glanced at me, one brow lifting.
I'm not complaining.
I almost smiled. Almost. Because something had been wrong all morning. At first it was nothing, just a feeling. The kind you get after years of racing, when the air pressure shifts and your instincts whisper, "Pay attention." I noticed it while pouring coffee, while checking the security feeds, while watching Aria walk from room to room like this place truly belonged to her now. Someone was watching us. Not blatantly, not foolishly. A black sedan that lingered 1 block too long. A delivery drone that hovered before redirecting. A flicker on the security monitor that vanished the second I focused on it. Professionals didn't rush. They waited. I didn't tell Aria, not yet. Instead, I called Marcus. He answered on the second ring. "You feel it too, don't you?" That confirmed everything. I leaned my forehead against the glass, eyes scanning the streets far below. Then what? A pause. "They're desperate now, Damian." Those words settled heavy in my chest. Desperation didn't look like lawsuits or stock manipulation. It looked like shortcuts, rage, ego. Men who'd never been told no finally realizing they were losing control. Men like Ethan. Men like his father. "I've been through the footage again," Marcus continued. "The garage explosion, your accident on the track 5 years ago. Same signature, same blind spot. They've always relied on the same kind of people. Disposable, paid, silenced. And now?" I asked. "And now they're running out of space to move." I closed my eyes briefly. Images surfaced uninvited, twisted metal, screaming alarms, my wife's face pale under hospital lights. Aria lying unconscious on concrete while flames ate my past all over again. "They won't try to bankrupt us," I said slowly. "They'll try to break us." "Yes," Marcus agreed. "And that usually means someone gets hurt." I ended the call and stood there longer than I should have. Behind me, Aria spoke softly.
What aren't you telling me?
I turned. She was watching me now, not the screens. She always knew, always sensed the shift before I voiced it. "They're circling," I said. "That's all."
Circling what?
I didn't answer immediately. I stepped closer, lifting my hand to her cheek, grounding myself in the warmth of her skin, the reality of her standing here, alive, defiant, unbroken. "Us," I said at last. She didn't flinch. That was what startled me most. Instead, her eyes sharpened, something fierce and unyielding rising behind them. The same look she'd worn in the courtroom, on television. The look of a woman who had been hunted long enough and finally decided to bare her teeth.
Then we don't give them an opening. We don't retreat.
I searched her face, wishing, just for a second, that I could pull her out of this. that loving me didn't mean stepping into a war that had started long before her. But Arya had never been someone you protected from the storm. "Promise me one thing," I said quietly.
That depends.
"If they strike," I said, choosing my words carefully, "you follow my instructions without argument. No heroics." A small smile curved her lips.
That's rich coming from you.
"Arya." Her smile softened. She reached for my hand, threading her fingers through mine.
I promise. But you promise me something too.
"What?"
You don't shut me out. Not now, not ever.
I nodded. "Never." Outside, the city moved on, cars flowing, lights blinking, unaware that two empires were quietly aligning for impact. Somewhere out there, Ethan was smiling for cameras, pretending control. But I knew the truth. The calm wasn't peace. It was the breath drawn before the punch. And when it came, it wouldn't be about money. It would be about blood, love, and who walked away standing.
The gym smells like iron, sweat, and obsession. Damian has been pushing himself for hours, 5, maybe more. His body moving with punishing discipline from one machine to the next, muscles taut, breath controlled, eyes burning with a singular focus. The tournament is no longer approaching. It's breathing down his neck. When I step inside, he looks up. We smile at the same time. I open my mouth to speak, already rehearsing the words in my head. You're going to destroy yourself. Please stop. But he beats me to it.
"Okay."
He says, voice rough, amused, exhausted.
"No problem. I know exactly what you're about to say.
I arch a brow.
I'll go take a bath."
I laugh softly, shaking my head as he wipes his face with a towel and turns toward the bedroom. I follow without thinking. Somehow, we always end up following each other these days. The glass door to his bathroom is open. Steam curls into the room as he steps inside, not bothering to close it. The air shifts, thick, electric, charged with everything we've been pretending not to feel.
"Arya."
He says without turning.
"Stop staring."
I scoff. You left the door open. A pause. Then, quietly, dangerously,
"Then come in."
my heart stutters. I hesitate only a second before crossing the threshold, fingers trembling as I slip out of my clothes. The heat wraps around me instantly. Steam, water, him. When he turns, his gaze darkens, slow and reverent, like he's memorizing me. He steps closer. The kiss isn't gentle, it's desperate, hungry. Months of restraint breaking all at once. His hands slide to my waist, grounding me as if he's afraid I might vanish. I fist his damp hair, pulling him closer, my pulse racing with the certainty that there's no turning back now. We don't speak. We don't need to. By the time we stumble back into the bedroom, everything feels unreal, too intense, too consuming. He lifts me effortlessly, carries me to the bed like it's the most natural thing in the world. Like this is where I've always belonged. His touch is slow now, worshipful, exploratory. Every brush of his fingers sends heat spiraling through me. Every kiss a promise he doesn't say out loud. I feel cherished, desired, safe in a way I didn't know I'd been craving. Time dissolves. The world narrows to breath and heartbeat, and the way his forehead rests against mine afterward. Eyes closed, as if he's anchoring himself to this moment, to me. When he finally speaks, his voice is barely more than a whisper. I don't want to lose this. I press my lips to his jaw, my answer just as quiet.
"Then don't."
The sheets are still warm when my phone vibrates. The sound slices through the haze like a blade. Damian's mouth is at my collarbone, his breath steadying, his weight anchoring me to the bed as if the world outside doesn't exist. For half a heartbeat, I consider ignoring it, pretending the vibration never happened. But instinct overrides desire. I reach for the phone. Damian stills instantly, lifting his head. There's no irritation in his eyes, only awareness. The same sharp focus that makes him lethal on the track and dangerous in every other way. I glance at the screen. Unknown, encrypted line. The covert finance expert. I have to take this, I murmur. Damian nods once and shifts beside me, propping himself on an elbow, one arm still draped possessively across my waist. The intimacy doesn't break. If anything, it sharpens. I answer. Talk. His voice is low, clipped, efficient. We have movement. 2 of the 5 minor shareholders want out. They're nervous, very nervous. The interview rattled them more than expected. My pulse quickens, not with desire this time, but with strategy. How soon? I ask. Immediately, he replies. But suspicion is rising. Ethan is watching me closely now. I recommend introducing a second covert buyer, someone unconnected to my profile. We can split the acquisition, move quietly. That would bring your position to 42%. 42. The number settles into my chest like a loaded weapon. And the paperwork? I ask. I'll structure it in fragments, as before. Shells, intermediaries. Once you authorize, everything consolidates into your name. Damian's thumb brushes slow, reassuring circles against my hip. He's listening to every word. I close my eyes for a moment, thinking, not like a woman in love, but like the strategist I used to be before Ethan broke me down piece by piece. Not yet, I say finally. Hold everything. No moves until I say so. There's a pause. Understood, but we won't get many windows like this. I know, I reply calmly. That's why we wait. I end the call. Silence rushes back in, thick, charged, alive. Damian studies my face, searching.
Bad news?
No, I say, turning toward him. Very good news. 2 more shareholders are ready to sell. If we move now, we hit 42%. A slow smile curves his mouth, dangerous, satisfied.
But you told him to wait.
He says. Yes.
Why?
I lift myself slightly, pressing my forehead to his. Because Ethan is panicking, and panicking men make mistakes. His smile widens.
At 39%.
He says, voice steady, assured.
We already wield power. Board pressure, voting leverage, fear.
And once you win the race, I add softly, we won't be buying scraps anymore. We'll be buying control. Damian exhales, something like a laugh slipping out.
Exactly. The interview rattled his investors, and now he knows I'm still in this race.
His hand tightens at my waist, not possessive, but protective.
He's running out of options, which means he'll overreach.
I kiss him then, not desperate, not reckless, but deliberate, a promise. In no time, I whisper against his lips, we'll dominate his company. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. Damian rests his forehead against mine, eyes dark with conviction. The penthouse has never felt so small or so full. Emma stands just inside the doorway, clutching her stuffed rabbit with both hands, wide brown eyes taking in the unfamiliar space. The marble floors, the tall windows, the quiet hum of a place that isn't yet home to her. She's only 4, but she understands more than people give her credit for. She knows she was taken. She knows she's been returned. And she knows I'm standing right in front of her, barely holding myself together. Mommy? She asks softly, as if the word might disappear if she says it too loudly. My chest caves in. I drop to my knees before I can stop myself, arms opening wide. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here. She runs into me with a force that almost knocks me over, burying her face in my neck. Her little fingers clutch my dress like she's afraid I'll vanish if she lets go. I hold her tighter than I ever have, breathing her in, baby shampoo, warmth, life. "I thought you went away," she whispers. Tears burn instantly. "I would never leave you. Never again, I promise." Behind us, I sense Damian's presence before I see him. He keeps his distance, respectful, quiet, but I know he's watching with a softness that still surprises me. This man who has survived fire and betrayal stands helpless before a child's fear, and something inside me shifts permanently. Emma pulls back just enough to look at me. "We're staying together now?" "Yes," I say firmly. "Always." She nods, satisfied, then yawns like the world has finally stopped spinning. I scoop her up, her head resting on my shoulder, and carry her through the penthouse, showing her the room Damian insisted be prepared just for her. Soft pink walls, a small bed with stars stitched into the blanket, toys already arranged, books lying neatly on a low shelf. Her eyes light up. "Is this mine?" "All yours." She smiles, a real one this time, and my heart fractures and heals all at once. Later, as Emma naps curled around her rabbit, I sit beside her bed longer than necessary, just watching her chest rise and fall. The chaos of courtrooms, interviews, threats, it all fades in this moment. This is what I was fighting for. Not one revenge, not victory, a future. Damian appears in the doorway, leaning casually against the frame, but his gaze is anything but casual.
Is she okay?
"She's exhausted," I whisper, "but she's safe." He nods. In the kitchen later, we move around each other quietly, domestic in a way that feels almost unreal. Damian makes tea, I slice fruit. No strategizing, no tension, just the simple miracle of breathing. But fear creeps in anyway. I watch him from across the counter, the strength in his shoulders, the scars I know by heart now, and the thought strikes me with brutal clarity. What if he doesn't come back from the track? The image slams into me uninvited. Twisted metal, screaming engines, headlines written in blood. Emma asking where Damian is. Me standing alone again, explaining loss to a child who has already had too much taken from her. My hand trembles around the mug. Damian notices immediately. He crosses the space between us in 2 strides, setting his cup down.
Hey, what is it?
I swallow. "If something happens to you," my voice breaks despite my efforts. "I don't know how I'd survive that. Not now, not with her." He cups my face, thumbs warm against my cheeks.
Look at me.
I do.
I'm not racing to die. I'm racing to live. For you, for Emma, for everything they tried to take from us. 2 days. That's all that stands between preparation and impact. Between silence and the scream of engines tearing down asphalt at 200 miles per hour. 2 days before everything I've built, everything I've lost, and everything I still love is tested under unforgiving lights. The raceway is already alive when I arrive. Steel scaffolding rises like a temporary city, banners snapping in the wind, transport trucks unloading machines worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. This is sacred ground for racers, neutral territory, governed by rules that pretend money doesn't bend them. Marcus walks beside me, hands in his jacket pockets, posture relaxed. Anyone watching would think he's just another official escort. They wouldn't see the predator behind his calm eyes. "This is your allocated stand," one of the tournament officials says, gesturing toward the space. I nod once. The stand is clean, wide, strategically placed near the pit exit. Enough room for my engineers, analysts, mechanics, and enough blind spots for mistakes. Or crimes, depending on who's watching. Marcus waits until the official leaves before moving. He works fast, efficient. A man who has done this too many times to count. Discrete CCTV cameras are mounted high, angled just enough to catch hands, tools, faces. One above the engine bay, one near the data console. One trained on the access point between my stand and the neighboring one. Blake's stand. I glance sideways. Their setup is obscene. 3 elite race cars gleaming under artificial light, crew members moving with rehearsed precision. More people than necessary. More money than sense. Ethan always loved excess. Loved reminding the world that he could afford to waste. Next 2 stands are theirs. Close enough to be convenient. Close enough to be dangerous. Perfect, I reply. Marcus pauses, studying me. You sure about this? I don't hesitate. If they touch anything this time, they won't be able to bury it. That's the point. The first explosion 5 years ago destroyed my career and almost my life, and left no fingerprints behind. This time, I'm not reacting. I'm inviting them in. By evening, the first leak goes out. Not to the media, not to officials, to the right ears. A quiet suggestion that my rear suspension is intentionally softer for better cornering. That my fuel mix favors acceleration over endurance. A calculated weakness, the kind that would make a desperate rival think sabotage would finish the job. Marcus watches me send the message. You're dangling raw meat. I know exactly who's hungry, I say. He nods slowly. Warrants are being prepared, quietly. If they act, we move. And if they don't, then they blinked. I smile thinly. Ethan doesn't blink. That night, I return to the penthouse later than I should. Aria is in the living room with Emma, both of them sprawled on the rug surrounded by half-built puzzles. Emma laughs when she sees me, scrambling to her feet.
Damian!
She chirps, running straight into my legs. I lift her easily, the weight grounding me in a way nothing else can. Hey, champion! Aria watches us from the floor, her smile soft, but her eyes search my face. She knows. She always knows. When Emma is finally tucked into bed, I close the door gently behind us and turn to Aria. I need you to wear this, I say, holding out a slim bracelet. Minimal, elegant, easy to overlook. She stiffens slightly.
What is it?
A tracker, encrypted, direct feed to me and Marcus. Her jaw tightens.
Damian.
And this, I add, placing a small stud earring in her palm. For Emma. She looks at it, then back at me.
You think Ethan would...
I think Ethan is cornered, I cut in calmly. And cornered men don't fight clean. Silence stretches between us. Aria exhales slowly, then nods.
Okay.
No argument, no fear, just resolve. She steps closer, fastening the bracelet around her wrist.
You come back, both from the track and from this.
I rest my forehead against hers. I'm not giving him anything else to take.
Emma's breathing settles into that soft, rhythmic pattern that tells me she's truly asleep. Damian lingers by her bed longer than necessary, his large frame oddly gentle in the small room. When he finally straightens and turns off the light, something in my chest tightens. I follow him down the hallway, every step echoing the countdown in my head. 48 hours. In his bedroom, the city presses against the glass walls, bright, distant, alive. Damian sits on the edge of the bed, forearms resting on his thighs, listening as I speak in circles around the fear I don't want to name.
You've been quiet.
I shake my head. I'm trying not to unravel. His eyes lift to mine, steady, anchoring.
You won't.
I move closer, close enough to feel the heat of him, the quiet strength in his stillness. My fingers tremble as I slip off my shoes. The sound feels too loud in the silence. I know you think in plans and contingencies, I say, but I think in what ifs. I slide my top over my head, my breath catching as cool air brushes my skin. Damian's gaze sharpens, not predatory, not rushed, just intensely aware, like he's seeing more than skin.
Arya,
I've lived my life waiting for things to fall apart. Tonight, I don't want to wait. I step out of my clothes slowly, removing my pants deliberately, not to seduce, but to show him how unguarded I am. When I finally stand before him, bare and exposed, his expression changes. Desire flickers there, yes, but so does something deeper. Fear, care, control stretched thin. He stands. The space between us disappears in a single step. His hands come up, not touching yet, hovering, as if asking permission without words. I nod, and when his palms finally settle at my waist, the contact feels seismic.
you're not losing me. Not tonight. Not ever.
His breath is warm against my lips. I feel it everywhere. But if the world takes something from us tomorrow, I whisper, I want to remember forever how this night feels, how you feel. His restraint snaps, not violently, but inevitably. He kisses me then, slow and deep, pouring everything he's holding back into that single act. It's not hunger alone, it's promise. It's need sharpened by fear. When he leads me to the bed, it's with reverence, like he's laying down something precious rather than taking it. He stays close, skin to skin, his touch unhurried, intentional, mapping comfort, not conquest. There is only warmth underneath my legs, my second lips teary at the magic Damian is performing underneath. I let out a soft moan, begging him to go a bit faster. Time dissolves. Later, wrapped in him, his arm heavy and protective across my back, I trace idle patterns against his chest, listening to the steady beat beneath my ear. Promise me, I whisper. He doesn't hesitate.
I'm coming back to you.
I close my eyes, pressing closer, holding on to the sound of his heartbeat like it's already a memory I refuse to lose. The morning feels unreal, like the air itself knows something irreversible is about to happen. Emma is safe at the penthouse, wrapped in cartoons, maids hovering, security stationed at every entrance. I kissed her forehead before leaving, breathing her in like a promise I intend to keep. I'm coming back, I told her. I don't know if that was for her or for me. The racetrack is another universe entirely. Noise hits first, engines roaring like beasts barely restrained, the constant crackle of radios, metallic clanks, hurried footsteps. Damian's boot is a hive of controlled chaos. Mechanics bend over monitors. Engineers argue in sharp, clipped sentences. Analysts track numbers that move too fast for my eyes to follow. Everyone here looks like they belong, except me. And yet, no one questions my presence. I walk deeper into the boot, past tool racks and data screens, and then I see them. The cars. My breath leaves me. They sit under the harsh white lights like predators at rest, sleek, lethal, impossibly beautiful. Black and silver bodies sculpted with intention, power condensed into form. And there, written cleanly along the side, unmistakable and proud, the Great Wolf. My name for them, my belief etched into steel. They aren't just machines, they're defiance, survival, an invention born from betrayal, loss, fire. A vessel forged out of necessity, meant to carry Damian back to the place the world tried to erase him from, to victory, to truth. To war, I whisper without realizing it. Behind me, the noise shifts. I feel him before I see him. Damian's voice cuts through the comms chatter, calm, authoritative, as he speaks with officials. Race rules, engagement limits, Safety clauses that feel laughable considering everything he's already survived. His posture is relaxed, but I know better. He's coiled tight inside, focused, deadly clear. When he turns and spots me, the world narrows. Just us. He walks toward me, the distance between us shrinking with every step. He's already in his race suit, partially zipped, wolf dynamics emblazoned across his chest. For a moment, I forget the danger, forget Ethan, forget the traps, the sabotage, the blood and smoke. I just see the man I love.
You came.
Where else would I be? I reply. His hands find mine, brief, discreet, grounding. 1,000 things pass between us in that single touch. Fear, pride, everything we haven't said because saying it might make it real. I look up at him. Is that her? I say, nodding toward the car. The great wolf? A slow smile spreads across his face, not cocky, not arrogant. Something deeper, something earned.
She's perfect.
He says.
You named my comeback.
I swallow. You're not just racing today, Damian. You're proving something. His gaze holds mine, intense, steady, unflinching.
Whatever happens out there, thank you for believing when the world didn't.
I step closer, lowering my voice. Come back to me. He leans in, resting his forehead against mine for just a second, long enough to steal strength from each other.
I will.